Hey guys, JV here, sharing my impressions of the Ghost Recon Wildlands closed beta from this past weekend. As some of you may know, I streamed around 5 hours of the beta on my channel and Twitch and completed nearly everything that it had to offer. While I did share some of my thoughts during the stream, I wanted to condense and consolidate all of that into one single video for you all, so that's what you're watching today. And before we begin, I do want to apologize for the quality of this video. Long story short, I forgot to check a setting and I forgot to record my stream, so you're not watching the raw recorded version. Also, I'm not talking to you right now in the top right corner. That's my webcam from the stream. First off, let's talk about what was in this closed beta. So there was around 5 hours of gameplay, and that's really where I topped out at. I tried to do absolutely everything, explore everything in the world. Around 5 hours is what I got to play out of that. There were 6 main missions, but several side missions. I want to say around 15 side missions to do as well. Lots of different areas to explore that had little, question marks and just areas of interest, things to collect, all of that stuff. And in the beta, it is an open world game. Don't get that wrong, but this open world was limited to one region, but there is so much more to explore in the full game. It's crazy, and we'll talk about that in a second. I want to talk about how this game is being compared to other games because it's a completely fair thing to do. We compare games to similar games all the time, and that's just natural. But this game to me feels like the love child of The Division, which is a Ubisoft game, and Just Cause. And the main thing I would say, the feeling from Just Cause, is that this game, Ghost Recon Wildlands, feels more lighthearted than The Division. I think The Division was trying to be serious in places, and it kind of missed the mark in that sense. And it's more like Just Cause in the fact that this is kind of a whimsical look at the cartels, which, it's kind of crazy because the cartels are insane, but it's more of a whimsical look at destruction and death and, shooting people. For example, if you shoot a civilian, your squad mate will be like, if you're playing with AI, your squad mate will be like, yo, dude, don't do that, man. You can't run over civilians. That's just wrong. It's just this weird kind of attitude towards that. It's not serious. That's the point I'm trying to drive home. I found the shooting to be satisfying and similar to The Division in the sense that it was, third person. So Ghost Recon was typically third person, so that makes sense, right? You can't snap into first person, and that's kind of weird because you're running around third person. You can snap to your gun in first person, but you can switch between that on and off. And again, I found the shooting to be satisfying on a similar level to The Division. Also, you've got character creation, and the feel of the characters, kind of the way they look even, is very similar to The Division. And I think the overall aesthetic feel of this game is similar to The Division in the way the UI is presented to you, the menus, the skill trees, collecting resources out in the world that are kind of categorized into different categories. That is very Division as well. However, that is where the comparison ends, and it's very silly, and I know a lot of people like to do this without even having played the game, just hop on a stream and say something like, oh, this is just a Division clone. No. Absolutely not. That couldn't be further from the truth. If you get your hands on this game and start playing for a little bit, you'll realize this is not like The Division. The Division was more of a focused, in a city kind of environment, not nearly open world to the degree that this game is going to be. This game is so open world, it's insane. It's one of the most open world games I feel like I've played in a while. And it is similar to Just Cause in that sense, if you want to make that comparison. I did say that the shooting is similar to The Division, more from like a feel standpoint, but when you actually talk about what the bullets do and how the enemies react, it's way, way different. Enemies die in just a few bullets in this game. You're going to be headshotting people and one-shotting them, from a long distance with a sniper, which is a really satisfying feeling in an open world, right? But only bosses, and I've only fought 2 bosses, there are only 2 bosses in the beta, are a bit spongy. Everything else dies in a few shots, and you yourself die in a few shots as well, depending on, the difficulty that you choose in the game. But that is a major, major difference between this and The Division. I remember a big complaining point for people was the disconnect between the fact that we're in this reality, in this world that's trying to mimic reality, but enemies are taking 30 bullets to kill. That's not the case in this game. You are not going to have bullet spongy enemies unless they're bosses, and even then I didn't find the bosses to be that bullet spongy. This idea is really hard to convey in a video, and I think Total Biscuit really nailed it when he talked about The Division and explained it is way different to play a game where enemies are dropping in 3 to 4 shots versus a game where enemies are taking 30 shots, have these giant health bars and things you have to deal with. That's not what's happening in Ghost Recon. Alright, enough with the comparisons. Let's just talk about generally how this game feels and my thoughts on what I played. So First off, the scale of this game is huge. It's massive. The open one region area that I played in was already big. There's going to be 21 of those regions in the full game. And it's mind-blowing because in the beta, you can look at the full map. You can't actually go out and explore. Actually, I think there was an exploit where people could get out. I never tried that myself, but there are 21 regions in the game. I'm sure some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller, but the scale of that is mind-blowing from just what I played. And if you can apply 5 hours of game time to each one, we're looking at over 100 hours of playing in this game, and that's crazy. Of course, if we're going to be spending 5 hours in each region, on average, there's going to be tons of content to grind through, and there certainly is. There's a lot of things to find, a lot of places to explore, little question marks in regions that you're like, huh, I wonder what's over there, and then you find an enemy compound and all of that. And enemies do respawn, at least in the beta, so I expect that to be a thing in the real game, but I did say content to grind through, and I use the word grind. And usually the word grind is not good for me, right? I don't want to have to grind through a game, but this almost felt like a good thing in this game. There was so much to do in a good way. Over the past few years, Ubisoft has a way of cramming a lot of content into one product, and some people like to criticize that and say, oh, well, you know, we're going for quantity over quality here. Clearly, the quality is not there. And with this game, I had fun with what I was playing. I can't necessarily say that it's quality over quantity instead of quantity over quality, because there's gonna be so much to do, but I enjoyed the time that I played, and I hope, you know, this kind of honeymoon phase of really enjoying what I played actually extends throughout the full game. A lot of people hopped in my Ghost Recon streams and asked me if there was any character customization, and there's a lot of cosmetic character customization going on. It doesn't affect your stats or anything, but you can just customize the way your player looks, and that's something you could do in the Division. I guess that's another comparison there. What blew me away was the gun customization and the sheer amount of weapons in this game. It's a big number. It's like between 50 and 100 different guns you can play around with in this game, and I think that, you know, some of those are limited to sidearms and specialty weapons, and so we're not looking at like 30 assault rifles and 30 SMGs, but it's a healthy amount of weapons that you're going to collect throughout the game, and each of the weapons has a lot of parts that you can further customize, and you'll collect different accessory packs, I think they were called, throughout the map. There's going to be different locations. You're going to find a beacon, and you can choose, do I want to reveal this on the map or that on the map? And if you do choose, you know, weapons, accessories, and stuff like that, you can go out and collect a new scope or a new magazine or a new barrel. And so the gun customization is insane. There's so much you can do. The game also has seamless drop-in and drop-out co-op multiplayer. So you're not fighting each other, you are fighting with your friends against the cartel AI enemies. And this is very similar to the Division as well, if we're going to keep making that comparison. And like I said, it's seamless. So if your friends need to leave, they'll leave, and then all of a sudden you'll have AI, you know, an AI squad with you. And someone asked me this question specifically: if I just want to play with one other friend, is it going to be 2 of us live players and 2 AI? That's not how it works. If you introduce another live player into your game, it's just the live players. There's no AI working with you. But if you're by yourself, you're with 3 AI squad mates. So you may be wondering what you actually do in this game, and there's a set of missions, like I explained, a set of side missions and all that. These are areas that you'll actually go to where the quest is located, and then you'll get some kind of story, you know, plot development there, and then you'll start out. But the typical combat encounter, or whatever you're doing, whatever objective you're trying to complete, is starting off with doing some recon. So every single player has a drone they can throw up into the air, and then you start marking targets, and you want to try to mark as many targets as possible, and then one by one you're knocking out enemies. And it is certainly better to approach almost every scenario stealthily rather than going in with a bang. There are a lot of weapons that you can certainly go in with a bang with. You got C4, you got mines, tons of explosives, grenade launchers, all of that fun stuff, but I definitely found that it's easier to play this game stealthily. I also found that I had the most fun playing this when I had friends playing with me in the closed beta. They also had closed beta keys, and so I squatted up with them, and I think that my enjoyment of this game may be sort of reliant on playing with a squad and kind of experiencing that with a group. The AI squad is an option, like I said. You don't have to play with other people, but the AI is not great. For the most part, I actually found that I was doing most of the work when my AI was just kind of wandering around. They were giving me callouts, which was nice, like look out for that sniper tower, and they'd mark it for me, but it's just not the same, and I didn't feel that the AI was very effective. Wrapping up my thoughts on this closed beta, Ghost Recon Wildlands probably won't be a game in my top 10 games of 2017. There's just so many good games coming out. This is not one of them where I think, oh, it's going to be a really good game, I'm going to love it. I do like that it addresses cartels with its story, but I think it's really underrepresented. They go at it, like I said, from a more whimsical angle, although the enemy is very terrifying and there's some horrific stuff going on. It's not looking to provide any social commentary. This is not a game you're going to play for the story, is what I'm trying to kind of convey to you guys. I just found it to be flat out fun. I found it to be a really fun experience with my friends, something that I'm going to dip a lot of hours into, and I plan to play a lot of it. I plan to stream it, maybe do a group let's play with some friends and share that on the channel. It's just a fun game. That's the takeaway I had from the beta. But of course, I'm only one person. I'd love to hear from you all in the comment section below. Do you plan on getting Ghost Recon Wildlands? Did you play the beta? If not, when you were watching the beta, did this convince you? You know, do I want to go out and get this game coming out in March? Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit that like button and click subscribe if you haven't already for more videos here on my channel very soon. Talk to you guys next time.